3, 2, 1. Testing. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Over.
Where you me see it?
Right there. Today we're interviewing Mr. R.C. Eldridge of 1157 Laurel Hills Road, Concord, Tennessee, or is that Knoxville? Knoxville, Tennessee. And give us his experiences of World War II. And I'll call Mr. Eldridge to start here in just a second. Okay, Dink, if you will, let's start about UT and take it from there.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I got mixed up in football and was the manager of the 38, 39, 40 Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, and Sugar Bowl teams with Nayland. And after I graduated, well, I took advanced art with these UT. When I graduated from UT, what I was going to do, and Nayland sent me to the telephone company to show the film of the Sugar Bowl game, and they hired me on the spot. Anyway, subsequent, of course, I was called to the Army like everybody else, and I went to Fort Knox and then Texas and the California desert in a tank program to report to the Chief of Staff of the War Department in 1942, July of 1942. And I went up there and Nayland was there and was forming the Army football team, and we went to Yale University, a whole bunch of us, old Tennessee players, plus a lot of pro football players, and we stayed at Yale University and played Army Navy relief. We played the New York Giants on Sunday, the Brooklyn Dodgers on Wednesday, and the Chicago Bears on the following Sunday. After that, we disbanded, and I went back to my unit. I was transferred in a cadre to another tank battalion in Fort Knox, and subsequently ended up in Europe.
Okay, tell me about a little bit about your training here in the States.
In the States?
Yeah.
I trained at Fort Knox, of course. Everybody went to Fort Knox in the armor. And Bulge, Texas, which is in Brownwood, and I stayed there in a regular Army outfit about 2 months. And we went to the California desert for General Patton to train for Africa. We were at Indio, California. We were there about 5 months, and I cadred out I came back to Hood, which was then brand new as Camp Hood then, which is now Fort Hood. We trained there in a tank battalion with school troops for the tank destroyers who were there. I then transferred to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
What kind of tanks did you actually have there?
At Hood?
Mm-hmm.
At Hood we had light tanks, the small ones. When I transferred to Fort Knox, we had the medium tanks, M4s. We were on the Armed Force Board, which tested all the tanks that the Army was trying at that time. We had Fords, Chryslers, Diesel, and Radials. And what we would do, we had 10 of each, and we would run. A company would take them at 8 o'clock in the morning and run until 3 o'clock. And then we did put gas and oil in them, and we ran them, testing rubber and grease, and see what would break down. And it eventually ended up there was 2 diesels and 1 Ford running. And they took shipping all the 100 octane gas overseas for the bombers, and they went to Tennessee maneuvers, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and went to Camp Miles Standish. We shipped out to England. We stayed in England all of 24 hours and landed in Omaha Beach on July.
You were only in England 24 hours.
We just landed Southampton, went to Liverpool. Southampton, went straight across on a train to Liverpool and got on a Canadian freighter and landed at Omaha Beach. We staged at Boulogne above Cherbourg till we got all our equipment and all our tanks, and then we drove from there to Brussels and joined the 104th Infantry Division, who were with the British. We stayed with them up to Breda, Holland. We got orders then to come back. We came back to Brussels, went to Aachen, Germany, through the Hürtgen Forest, down into Eschweiler, Wiesbaden, along there from November the 14th to December the 16th, you know, the Battle of the Bulge hit. On the, let's see, gosh, it did the 18th, we got orders at night to load up and go to, my orders were to go to Eupen, which is this side of Liège. And I said, yes, and he said, turn left. That's all. We didn't have any maps, we didn't have anything. We went down, and it was snowing sideways. Got down to a little, well, the roads got too bad, and the tanks were having trouble with steel tracks. So I left my outfit and got in a Jeep and went to a place called Soy, S-O-Y, and ran into the colonel from the 3rd Armored Division, Combat Command R, on the ridge and watched the Germans in the valley below, whole column coming up, and they turned left and went into Houghton, a little town called Houghton. All this was about 10, 15 miles above Bastogne. It froze, and it got to about, I guess, I believe those 0, and then the course of factor was about 25. The 75th Infantry Division, which was ASTP troops, they trained over here in the United States to brought them up and put them in the line. We were out with flashlights, looking for hanging a string in the wire with flashlights, and I said, you better put that out, you're going to be dead. Anyway, I told them, I'll be down the road at about a mile from here. My whole company, we got in one farmhouse, and it was, and from then on, we went from there, we went to Stavelot and St. Ville-Somme, looking right down on Bastogne. We were blocking the Germans so they couldn't get out. And about...
Tell them again what unit you were.
I was with the 750th Tank Battalion then. This was a separate tank battalion, which we were attached to, usually to an infantry division. We were attached to the 104th Infantry Division up in Germany, and then we came down and they brought the 75th in, and we put them for a few days to the commanding general, who got relieved for inefficiency and what the hell he was doing. We were attached to the 78th Infantry Division, the 82nd Airborne, and 3rd Armored. We all got in there together because it was, you can imagine, it was chaos. Fortunately,
What were your duties specifically?
I was a company commander,
Okay.
captain, company commander of a tank company.
Okay. How many men and tanks were involved in the company?
In a company, you had 17 tanks in a company with 5 men in each tank. And then you had a headquarters, and you had a maintenance mechanic, medium tank companies, and one light tank company, and a headquarters for gasoline and that sort of thing.
The one where you said it was, where I interrupted, you said it was chaos.
It was chaos. We didn't have any maps. We didn't have anything. And, of course, in the point in the thrust the Germans had made, they had destroyed the 26th Infantry Division. They had captured a lot of tanks, the 7th Armored. They were running around right in the middle of their column, American tanks and everything else. They were dropping paratroopers all over the place, behind the line, dressed in American uniforms, and we were changed about 5 times a day, or they'd stop you and blow your brains out and say, who won the World Series last year, or what Dave Moose's name, and all that sort of stuff. And if you'll recall, at Stavelot, they caught these Americans, tied their hands behind their back and killed, shot them in the head. So from then on, thing got real sticky. There wasn't too many prisoners taken on either side. The biggest thing we had was weather. It was terrible. Fortunately, let's see, on January the 1st, the 82nd Airborne and my tank went down to lead a little town called Houghton, which was surrounded by the Germans. They wouldn't let us advance. We were blocking. I guess they were wanting Patton to come up from the south and get on to Glory. About that time, the weather broke, cleared off, and the Air Corps they just plastered it. They pulverized it. I know one day we were sitting there, and I saw my first jet I ever saw. It came down that valley, and everybody, God, what's that? What's that? Of course, they were running out of gasoline and all, but that was the first jet I ever saw. And then they were dropping we were sitting there watching, they were dropping parachute and stuff into Bastogne to the...
Some of those photographs of yours seem to be where you captured some of those jets, those first ones that were ever used, weren't they?
Yeah, that was later on, Stan. After that, we stayed in the Bulge till they got the line straightened out until February. We went back to Eschweiler. We crossed the river there at Durham, which is right below Julich, and went on to the Cologne Plain. We fought across there and took Cologne. This was all with the 104th Division. We were attached to them. The way they operate, they'd take a tank battalion, and one regiment would have A company, one regiment had B company, one regiment would have C company. And the B company light tanks would be used for reconnaissance, and they were real fast. We would work hand in hand with the infantry, right down to house to house. After we took Cologne, we were regrouping, of course, and we were figuring out how we were going to cross the Rhine when they captured Remagen. We got orders at night to get down, and everybody just took off and went south to Remagen, and we crossed the railroad bridge and Tank Battalion 2 days later, and got on the other side of the river, the Rhine. And from then on, we fought. You'd run into some Germans, they'd fight you for a while. We went in there and went up toward, I can't recall, Paderborn. Yeah, Paderborn, and then we went south through the Harz Mountains into Halle, Leipzig, and when we captured all these airfields with these brand new jets sitting there out of gas, beautiful things. And of course we notified the Air Force, and they came up. And if you'll recall, the first American jet that we had looked exactly like that jet that they used in. We continued on to the Elbe River. And we said, well, we crossed it, in fact. They stopped and said, well, wait for the Russians. So we sat there 2 weeks waiting for the Russians to come. And we met the Russians the week before. They had the big celebration there. And of course, we've been with them all. If you look at some of the pictures, they were taken a week before they had the big meeting. Then we got orders to occupy. They had been captured by the Germans and worked the farms and everything. Got them, put them in boxcars, locked the doors. Got orders to go to Berlin for the Potsdam Conference. And we went to Berlin. There. At VE Day, you know, you had 85 points you were supposed to come home. And all had more than that. But General Clay said, there's nobody going to get out of here. The last day, Eisenhower came up there, had a big parade, and 6 o'clock in the morning. So then transferred to the combat engineers, and I was leaving at 6 o'clock at night. We left and went to Reims, France. Played volleyball for a month, waiting for a ship, and when the ship came, they came up one day and said, we got a freighter down here, we got beds and none hole, that's all. And everybody said, we're going anyway. So we came home on a tough victory. And it took us.
When was that?
This was in November, and I was discharged in February of 46 with all my leave. And subsequently, 4 years later, called back to the Korean War.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
And the Bulge, I'd frozen both feet, and when I got back in the Korean War, they shipped me to Seattle to go to Korea, and gave me a physical. They said, you can't go, and I said, hear that. I'll go back home. So I came back home.
I bet you was all right. You still stay in contact with some of the fellows you were overseas with?
Oh yeah, with my company we've had 4 or 5 reunions. There's not many in this part of the country. There's one boy that lives in Maryland. The biggest majority of my men came up from Chicago and Minnesota and places like that. Of course, a lot of them have died, and some of them have talked to some on occasion.
You remember most about your time overseas? Out above everything else?
Of course, the Battle of the Bulge just sticks out more than anything, and the Hurtgen Forest was very, very bloody. It was the poor infantry were working right with us, and if you went some days 100 yards, you were really flying. When we went into the Siegfried line, they had taken this hill out of Stolberg. They'd taken it about 10 times and lost it every time. And that was one of our assignments, and we took the thing. And I'll never forget the British. We didn't lose 14 tanks out of 17. And this British major said, "Oh, good show." God said, "Yeah, sure was. But anyway, the people in that part of Germany were a lot different than the people when you got more over to the Ruhr Valley. They were different type people. From Aachen to the river, there wasn't any there. They just all left and went toward the Cologne, of course. And would be out in the fields, working in the fields.
How were relationships in general with the civilians?
We, of course, at that time, we weren't going to deal with them at all, and we didn't. Now, in the Bulge, we were back in Belgium, and we would feed them. They didn't have anything to eat, them food and so forth. But when you got up in Germany, we didn't get them anything. You know where you put the garbage. Sunk. Here's this old man out there digging in that stuff. He must have been in his close to 70, eating it. Well, I had a lieutenant that could speak fluent German, and I told him to go out there and talk to him. They got him. He was a barber in the Hitler Flats up at Hitler's headquarters. And he moved in with us, and he cut my hair and shaved me every morning straight away.
Is that right?
But anyway, talking about Berlin, we went up to Hitler's dugout, the dungeon where he died and all. And I took a lot of pictures. They shipped them home and never got here. Never got here. I'm sure when I went to the APO, they took them.
Must have been.
They were taken down dugout
I haven't seen anything like
not
that.
where he was burned up and everything else. They just mutilated that tank.
Is that right?
They tore it all to pieces. Anything, there's some, where I'll tell you where those jets were. Beautiful engineering stuff, tables and drafts. They came in there and just busted that stuff up with axes. Why, I don't know.
What did you think of the Russians, a little you saw them?
I really didn't think much of them. Of course, they hadn't been paid in years and years, and they paid them off. And then they come over and buy candy bars and then go tell the MP he stole it and all that sort of. You know how the GIs are.
Yeah.
And they steal everything. I told this colonel one night that they'd go down their tank park and they would steal shovels and picks and axes and canvases. I told him, you got to keep them out of it. He said, shoot them. So I 5 of them.
Is there?
Yeah, down there stealing. They don't care. They didn't figure that they didn't have to feed them.
What did you think of England?
Oh, the British? I was with the British in Holland. They, of course, they'd been fighting how long? Goodness. This is a brigade of theirs. And some tea. It's tea time. I don't give a damn, we're going down the road. And they were good fighters, and they'd been fighting a lot. And I was with them again when the war was over. I was North American unit, and British were right next to me, and I got to be friends with them.
The French, do you have any relationship much with them? See,
Just when I went through France.
Okay.
We ran into a lot of them down at the farmers down in Cologne, Pittsburgh, and in there they were making water was so sour. They'd make that Calvados and bring it up there and sell it. So put your cigarette lighter down in it, and it's about 120, 30% proof. Deal with French.
When you're over there and doing that heavy fighting, did you ever wonder about why in the hell you were there?
Oh, well, we knew why we were there. It never did enter my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
we always, I'll tell you one funny thing. I forget where we were. And they decided everybody got to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Roosevelt had already been elected anyway. The time we got to us, but we still had to vote.
Yeah.
Everybody voted. Remember, we voted in pouring down rain. But everybody had to vote. But we knew why we were there.
Yeah, I think.
And incidentally, I skipped some.
Okay.
At the Harts Mountains, we went down into Nordhaus and chopped through the concentration camp. You see those pictures in there. They said, no, that didn't happen. Don't you believe it didn't happen? There was at least, in Nordhaus alone, not like Dachau and all those others, but it was still a concentration camp. When we went through the fence, I'd say there was at least 2,000 to 3,000 dead, just laying everywhere and having stacked up like wood. And the smell, you can imagine what the smell is. And the people that we didn't know this was going on. Of course, I took a lot of pictures, and then I was first, so we left. But it happened. I'll guarantee you it did.
It's funny, talking to other veterans, that you always get the same answer about, did you wonder why you were doing what you were doing overseas or fighting?
Yeah.
They knew. Everybody
knew what we
They
were
wasn't
there.
in doubt, and they wasn't doubting in mind that that's where you belonged.
That's
either.
right. No, not at all.
What did you plan to do after the war?
Well, see, I had worked with the Bell system.
That's right, yeah.
And when I came back, I went back to, of course, 50 again, 2 years.
How did the war affect you?
I don't know that it hardened you as death is concerned. Everybody knows that death is, and I guess the main thing, the first one you see, the first soldier you see that's killed, is kind of odd. That you just get, I guess, into it.
World War II changed the country.
I think it changed the world, yes. I think it changed the country. I just wonder, though, today, that the fight now like it did then. Of course, Vietnam was a disaster, and Korea was much better. But they fight again like we did. Because everybody fought.
That's right.
They didn't call anybody. And everybody, we didn't like you read about all these conscientious objectors. There wasn't many conscientious objectors in World War II. You'd hear one or two for religious reasons, but
Yeah. Those guys over there that's sitting on their ass very long, they're going to have problems.
oh yes they are. Yes
Big
they are.
problem. That's one thing a soldier can't stand.
You
to do
can't
much
stand
of.
sitting on your butt.
That's right.
Somebody asked me, said, what do you reckon they do at night? I said, they don't do a damn thing. And all it's going to take, somebody get liquored up and start something and shoot, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Of course, during the war, you stay busy. When you're fighting, you fight all day and come in at night and regroup and get ready for tomorrow. And the lieutenant was, one night road, we got news about 2:30 in the morning. We were up in the Harts Mountains, and died. Hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I said, we're going to attack here in the fourth. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I said, it don't make any difference. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, I'll tell you, hurry up and wait till you get till you get where you're going. Just like us, I thought I never got to sick as hurry up and wait. And when we finally got where we were going, they flew off night and day till you could just.
I'm sure they did.
We
used to have what we call suitcase drill. Pack up. I mean, we lived in those pyramidal tents down in Texas. Well, he came in with a, okay, load up, we're gonna go. Hell, he tear everything down, pack everything up, and see it. Well, we're not gonna go today, and then put it back. I figured out later, hell, they're just doing that to keep us busy.
Probably.
Well, Buddy, you flew the thing at Buddy Lewis, that baseball player. Didn't he fly the Huff all the
I don't
time?
know.
C-47s.
I flew 46s mainly. I don't know what, I'm not familiar with what he did. I don't have
You
heard
talked
of
about
it.
40. You flew 46s?
Well, 47s at first, and then we got 46s because we could get a lot higher with them
Yeah.
and a lot more tonnage over.
They used them for ambulance planes, too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they sent the agent to the hospital once and his arm break it, but how to fly an airplane. And these guys, some of them never been up there. What's he doing? What's he doing out there? I said, I guess he's going to find out how to fly. And he'd evidently been an ex-fighter pilot because we got over and he laid them down, you know, like this. But I used to watch this paratroopers jumping. I don't know.
Go ahead. Let me go back to these
Talk
questions.
about these airplanes. I got acquainted with, we had 47 pilots that supported us a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And this major, he's tanks for us.
Is there?
He'd get down that bow gun, just shoot that fire different. He said, come on. Said, we're going to fly in the morning. Come up here. No, didn't. I went up there. He wanted me to ride piggyback and 347 with him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah, that's great. Anyway, he took off and he came back in about 30 minutes. That son of a bitch, he must have had 5,000 holes, goddamn airplane. Couldn't get the wheels down. He came in and bellied it and turned it in a flip, jumped out and said, I gotta go, give me another airplane, I gotta go. You wanna go? I said, hell no, I ain't going. But they could knock out more stuff than we could in those damn airplanes. The damn tanks out there. Oh, Lord, hell. Got more stuff than we did. They'd catch them on the road, just blow them to hell. The shells they got now. Shit,
You say you played 3 football games they played rather than
Yeah.
one in 3 days?
they played the New York Giants on Sunday. This is all Army Navy relief.
Yeah.
Went down to Hickman. Used to drink a quart of whiskey at night. Good. Playing there at Yale University. I want to be there in the first place.
Didn't want to be
No,
there.
he didn't want to be there. He said he was playing in the, what was it, Colonel, full Colonel. Mr. Lewis. Said, like my football team, but me, and shut the door. And I'm sure it cost me damn stock in the long run. I talked about down to the ball team.
That sounds like him, though, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that's him.
Who? I don't know. It's a battle for oil. There's not much doubt about what.
Well, I can't understand why we can't come up with something. They don't even use it. They use synthetic oil in these jets.
Yeah, it's not. Well, they tell me.
Got to playing with these people, and this guy said, "Come out to my place Sunday." Only showed it up. But went out there. He had cattle oil. He had oil wells pumping, and that's when they started gas rationing. You know, and he said, "Hell, we just going to secede the union. We don't. We got all we need." Yeah.
Oh, Lord. See a lot of things.
Yeah, you see that. But that Army Force Board,
How did your all's tanks compare quality-wise to the German? You
No.
hear so much about the German tanks and how
they're
they
good. They're firepower. That 88, what I did to mine on the front slope of, if you look at some of it, reinforced those with about 8 inches of concrete.
Is
The
that
front
right?
slope,
Yeah.
of them, yeah. And you see some in there where the 88s went in them. I know, and it's there. And that thing ricocheted all the way around that three.
You never know Charlie Boswell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie was a good friend of mine.
That Alabama,
Yeah.
and West Blind.
Yeah, was blinded in the.
I knew him when he played with Alabama.
Yeah. And then, he was blinded in the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah.
He was in the tank commander, I believe.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of them for years and years. Charlie is really tickled. He's a character. You know, he'd come up here and he'd sit in the stands with his radio.
Yeah.
And have just as much fun as anybody, you know.
He was a hell football player.
He was a good player. He learned, my brother had a place out on the lake, and we taught him water ski.
He was a national champion golfer.
Yeah, he was. He was a heck of a good golfer.
Who was the other day, just a pro golfer. Played with some blind. And he blindfolded him.
Mm-hmm.
The blind people shot about 40 and he shot 90.
Is that right?
He said, hell, I couldn't do anything with that. Yeah, I knew Charlie Bob.
Charlie liked the women too. He
Yeah.
says, you know, I get to bump up against them and I just follow them because I
excuse
get
me.
more good feels, you know. He's tickled me to death.
But, I've got that thing on it.
Yeah, but it doesn't make a difference. They'll just they'll edit
We
it.
were going moving through Paris one night. It's true, right through the middle of town. We were going right straight through the middle of moving up through the middle of Paris. And of course, there's a lot of that goals that told German people that when Americans came, that's what they were going to do, rape them and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything that went on.
I love it, but it wasn't real.
They just flat ran out of soup.
Yeah, that's interviewing one fellow, and he was telling me about the first ones they captured in North Africa, and then they were arrogant.
Yeah,
They thought they were going to win that damn war, and they whipped their ass.
That's right. And regiments lined up there on the street to surrender
Missouri.
to us. We just go down, march down the Audubon. But in the Bulge, after they killed those guys, the sergeant was taken aback and drafted one of them. The biggest thing about the Bulge, I'll never forget, this 75th Infantry I checked out. Overcoat was solid sheet iron. He was just, and he couldn't miss Major Doe. I said, "Turn that pop over." Well, you could salute or not. But there was a lot of,
You get your share of them, wherever you are, I guess.
yeah. But I got more men killed.
Yeah.
Knoxville. They'd be out riding motorcycles or mules or something. I was going to kill them. And I had 3 men. One guy said, "Here, Captain, take this $150." Fine. And, you know, the army get on time. We went out there and shrapnel them, had a flag. And go to another meeting. Creek, and there's a meat market. And he had a bomb, his bomb was swinging like that, and that's how it fell in that damn CP where I was supposed to be.
Charmed life, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think so. Oh, sounds like it. Well, I tell you, you know, I used to watch those guys on the ground in Burma, in particular, those troops over there. I knew what
that's
they
hell,
were
right, you know,
doing.
John, you know.
I think I'm so damn, whether I get killed or not, I'm so thankful I'm up here and ain't down there.
God. That's right. And I'll tell you, the infantry is the worst place to be.
Well,
We'd take off an attack and they'd have a full complement of officers and enlisted men in him. And in 20 minutes, a damn sergeant would be in charge because everybody else was gone, dead. And they'd be walking beside the tank with us.
well, in the modern army, like so far now, if we got infantry, those guys are volunteers and get to pick their branch. And,
Well, the 82nd Airborne, they're infantry. Paratroopers are infantry.
They are?
Yeah, they're infantry.
now the number is 51, and 50 to 1 in actual infantry soldiers, or 100 to 1.
Oh, yeah, I remember him here.
No, what,
You know how they're people, their value of life over there.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I
People
heard
in
him.
this company don't breathe that.
Interview one that could speak English, and say, you know, a lot of people be killed on both sides just so he gets in work. So what? Yeah.
Over here,
Didn't.
like Pat used to say, don't take any prisoners, you have to feed them.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it didn't take any prisoners, those guys fighting in Burma, because they couldn't feed them. And all they could do was feed their dang itself, you know.
They fought the damn weather, the damn climate, and Vietnam, I guess, was the same way. There's some guys I've talked to went there, he was just,
you know, that's, at least we didn't have to fight that.
yeah, that's right.
And I feel sorry for those guys that did, Lord.
Terrible.
Okay, I reckon that'll do it.
Yeah, and be sure.